Previously on Unpacked.
So it was time for us to have a family of our own.
Got into the water, 5 pushes, baby was out. And when I put my ear to her chest, her heartbeat had stopped. The doctor came and he said, "I'm sorry. We did everything we could." And that was when her father and I just broke down.
Mona Monyane and Fihliwe Mthethwa both lost their children shortly after birth. This is part 2 of their stories. Let's unpack. Fihliwe, I'm going to come to you now. So, you spoke about your pregnancy being challenging and that you lived alone. Mm-hmm. And what was the build-up then to you going into labor and what happened?
I remember it was Tuesday. I was at work and I was not feeling okay. So on a Wednesday, the following day, I had to go for a checkup. So my partner came. So we went for a checkup and then I explained to the doctor that I was not feeling okay. And then she told me that my baby she was turning because now I was 8 months pregnant. So I went back home. I was not feeling okay throughout the day, but I thought that maybe it was how it is supposed to be. So later, I think it was around 10, I started feeling, I think it was contractions, but then I didn't know back then. So I felt sick. I was vomiting, I had a runny tummy. And then my partner knocked on my neighbor's door and asked what was going on because now we're both confused. So the lady told us that we should just go to the hospital because now I'm about to have a baby. So we drove to the hospital. Then when I got there, I was having a baby. And I had no idea what was going on. But
so
then,
they told you you're in active labor?
Yes. But then when I remember before going to the hospital, it was 2 months early. I think there was water coming out. So I went to the clinic, my usual checkups. I asked the nurse what was going on. They told me that it was normal. It was nothing wrong with that. So throughout the pregnancy, I had water coming out. So I thought that maybe it was okay. So when we went to the hospital, I was in active labor. I gave birth immediately. So now, mangithola umntwana, umntanami bekangakhali. And I didn't understand why not, but I thought that maybe it is how it's supposed to be. And mangiceda ukumthola, kwafika udoctor, wamcheck wamthatha. And bangibingise wardini. Later, after 2 to 3 hours, wabuya udoctor wazongitshela ukuthi my daughter is struggling breathing. So I will see her, I think, after a day or 2. Okay.
So the baby was in ICU?
Yes, I think so. So after she had told me that, I think it was around now, early hours of the morning, they told me that they were going to discharge me. I was going to go home, but then I'm not going to take my baby with me because now she's not okay. Okay, I went home. Then I came back later. I was taken to the room where they were full of babies. So, but then I didn't understand what was the incubator at the time. I didn't understand if maybe you leave your baby at the hospital, you have to, like, there's a place where they keep them. So my baby was kept there. So when I went to that ward, I saw my baby and I was so happy to see her for the second time. It was me and my partner seeing her. But then I was happy but sad at the same time because now, indlela abebekade bamfake ngayo ama-drip all over. Amehlo wakhe bamvalile. So, bekungizwisa ubuhlungu. But then benginethemba ukuthi lo mntwana uzophila. And nangiye ngiyombona amalanga makahamba ama-drip bawakhipha. Amehlo bawavula. And then I'm like, she is going to live. I think after 2 weeks, they had discharged her. I had to take her home, and you know, it was the happiest day of my life. I was so happy. But the thing with my baby is that she was not crying. She was mourning most of the time. And I thought that maybe this baby was so quiet because it's a girl anyway. So like, I thought that maybe she was one of those decent girls, and you know, I took her home with me. And when I got home, 1 or 2 of my family members came and checked on my baby, because now I forgot to tell you that I have given birth prematurely. It was 8 months.
Yes, you did say
I
8
did.
months. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
She was so small, you know. And when I got home, because now I used to live with my sister. Now she's no more. And there's my niece staying there with my other cousins, so I had to stay with them. So there was nobody helping me out in terms of teaching me maybe how to bath her, how to like feed her, because I was struggling breastfeeding. So I had to buy this milky and try to feed her.
And your partner as well has never had a child before.
So it was our first. So as I was saying that, I was all on my own, and my baby was so small and I didn't know what to do. I had to rely on Googles to check what was going on when your baby's not crying, what's going on. And, you know, I had nobody to help me out. So I remember one evening, I was watching TV and I had just done feeding my baby. And while I was feeding her, she kept on vomiting, you know. And I waited for my partner to come back from work. So he came. And I told him that I don't think this baby's okay. So he said to me, let's just go to the nearest clinic to check what was going on. We went there. When we got there, they said that they can't help us. So we should go to the hospital. Because now I think it was too much for them, because there's a clinic anyway, they can't help us with anything. So we went to the hospital. When we got there, they admitted her. And then later on, the doctor came and told me that my baby had a meningitis. I didn't know what was it. And the doctor didn't even explain what was it. So I had to Google it, what was meningitis.
What was the information you found about meningitis?
Said that it was inflammation of spinal cord and brain membranes. Yeah, it says so. And says that typically it would be caused by a virus or a fungal. Yeah, so yeah, that was it. And I think 3 days, 4 days, I had to leave my baby there because we were not allowed to, to spend time. So I had to leave her there and come back and check up on her. But then I think I went 2 to 3 days. When I went there, I remember she had also, again, drips all over. But then now she was not in the incubator. She had a drip of water. I think they had put too much water, according to me. The way I saw how things happened there, I think he had too much water on her body, like I think throughout the night. Because when I came back the following day, she was swollen. You could see that she was crying all night. But then because now, you know, services from public to private hospital, they're different, you know. So I thought that maybe, you know what, she'll be okay. They know what they're doing. Stay there at the hospital. After a few hours of visitation again, I was outside. We were called by the doctor, me and my partner. The lady told us that my baby had to be transferred to the ICU because now chances of her survival was very slim. Okay, they did take her we walked together to the ICU. I remember asking that lady, there was a nurse, I think, there were 2 or 3 of them. I asked one of them, was my baby going to survive? Is she going to be okay? And the lady said to me, angeke aphile.
How?
What angeke aphile? But then, ngatshela ukuthi if simise ICU and then uzophila lo mntana. When we got there, bazama ukumfaka emshinini, bazama ukumsiza ukuthi aphefumule. Mara bengaphefumula, like bekaphefumula, but then you could see ukuthi she was struggling to breathe. So after lapho, bangitshela ukuthi like there's nothing you can do, umntana like she's struggling, and sekuyisikhathi sokugcina for yena. I remember ubaba umntanami ambambile and aphefumula umphefumulo wakhe wokugcina. Ashonele ezandleni zakababa. So the nurse came, the doctor, she was announced deceased. We had to leave the room and wait outside. I remember I felt disconnected. I just couldn't believe it. I thought that maybe this was a dream, you know. Maybe there was something they could do, just that they need time to do it. And on the other side, Baba umtanami, he could not handle it. Because I grew up withdrawing strength from him. But in that day, I could see that he was going through a lot. He screamed and I couldn't control it. And he couldn't also. I couldn't like calm him down at the time. We had to now wait for them to take her to the mortuary. They did take her to the mortuary. And I remember we're going to class and then Mtanam Bebambega on the other side. Tina simming up. With him identify to I was still thinking that maybe Sapil. Mara.
It's okay.
I remember when we were on our way going back home. Swabile in such a way that we couldn't speak up until we got home. And when we got there, Babomtana Mang dropped by, and that's when some of my family members they actually came by. And that's when they realized that Umtanam all along when I was saying that she was not okay, I needed help. But now this is like really happening. She's gone and it was too late anyway for them to like give me support because like I needed support from the day I gave birth. Needed them because now I had no idea what to do. It was my first, so I felt at some point they had failed me.
Were the doctors able to explain to you what the cause of death was?
They never. They never. That's why, hence I'm saying that the service from the public hospital to the private is different. You know, public hospital, you own your own. You know, the service is not as the one from the private hospital. So when as I said, when we got home and we had to now prepare for the funeral. So my partner had to do all the preparation because now he didn't want anybody else to be involved, because when I needed them to help me out with the baby, there was nobody. So now all of a sudden, my daughter had passed on. Now they want to get involved. So he had to do everything on his own and preparation, and he went to the mortuary. You know, he did everything basically. Yeah, up until we had buried her.
Did the funeral at all help you to accept that this had happened?
No, it didn't. It didn't at all, because now I felt like I needed to replace my baby. I wanted to have another one so bad. Because now I was feeling as if I was a failure. I was so ashamed. My self-esteem was destroyed, because now losing a child, especially of your own, is different from other losses. In a sense that it changes everything in your life. How your mentality changes. How you do things, how you carry yourself. So I remember after I had lost her, after I had buried her, I wanted to have another one so bad. I had told myself, you know what, I will have another one and he will live or she will live. I'm not going to give up, not now. I'm going to have one of my own.
So how soon after that did you fall pregnant?
It was 2019. I had a baby 2018, 2019, I had another one.
And how was that pregnancy?
With this one, it was different because now I was well aware of the hormones, of morning sickness and whatsoever. Now I had a clue of what to expect. And I was not as excited as I was, but then I was always cautious this time. I had to I was always scared of something. I had always to look out for something. Yeah, I was expecting anything to happen, but my second one now.
And how did that delivery go?
This time it went well. It just went well, and went to the hospital. I remember it was me and my niece this time, because now my partner didn't want to be part of it, because with the first one, he was excited. He was looking forward to have a baby with me. But then we were disappointed. So with this one again, I think maybe he was thinking maybe the same thing is going to happen. So it didn't, he was never involved. Anyway.
But were you guys still together?
Yes, we were.
And how did, and I can understand where he's coming from, because he may not have been healed yet from the first baby. How did it make you feel that he was not participating?
I got angry most of the time, because now I had told myself that I wanted this baby, another one. We had a mutual agreement that we will have another one. And now we are having another one, and then you are disconnecting from everything. So, but then I didn't take it into heart, because I understood sometimes. that maybe even this one might not make it. So I'm expecting anything. Yeah.
Is there anything, Mona, that's been said, with regards to the loss that resonates with you?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing I say is, Mama. But I absolutely identify with what she says when she says she lost her self-esteem. You feel like you're a failure as a woman somehow when you go through that loss. But for me, my journey, because I did fall pregnant after Amani, but I miscarried after the first trimester. So I believe I'm still in the process of building up the courage to try again. It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy journey, and we do grieve in different ways and at different paces. And I also acknowledge that is what played a part as well in my divorce, is that, our journeys of healing just went in different directions and we couldn't necessarily find our way back to each other again, Loss is something that really does define you. It really just, it changes your identity. It changes, like I said, I still believe the Mona that I am now is definitely not who I was then. Like I absolutely do not feel like I still have any ties to that woman anymore. And every day is just me making new decisions to define who I am becoming. And I think that's all we have. All we have is this moment to define what we want our next moment to look like. We can't go back. We can't undo anything. And once that pain has done its part, it's so important for us to reclaim that power of our wellness and to say, okay, tomorrow I want to be a happier person. And for me, through my spiritual awakening, I now look at life differently. I look at the purpose of a person's life. We love people. We want to hold on to them. We want them to be in our lives forever. But death is a part of it. Death is a part of this. Not all, like we're all going to die. No one is going to be sitting here chilling, living forever, But some people fulfill their purpose sooner than others. And we can, I sat and I realized I do love being a mother. I do want more than one child. I do want this, I do want that. But then the thing about healing as well is that as time goes, you start to explore other emotions. You start to allow yourself to explore other things. What was it about the pregnancy maybe that I didn't want to admit, What was it about having another child too soon that I didn't want to unpack? So I say healing is a journey. It's not a destination. So we have to allow ourselves to go through the different dips and peaks that journey will take us on, and not try and commit and stay in one state forever. Because one thing I also don't want, when I fall pregnant again, if I do choose to go down that route, is I don't want fear to exist in my body. I don't want it to exist in my mind. I don't want to doubt that this is a blessing that will see its way through, And I am honest enough with myself to admit that I might not be there yet. I might not be there yet, And I think what I'm getting, even just listening to Fihliwe, is that we pain allows us to see ourselves, Even the way that she speaks about how she felt in the process and the way she's articulating herself, it's like pain does that. It just makes you objective, And sometimes when bad things happen to us, we don't want to give ourselves credit for the growth. We don't want to give ourselves credit for the awakening that comes with that and owning it, Because, the darkness does want to boast, but in that, the light is also doing its work, you know? So I think for me, this process has really still been a thing of, because you do feel the pain. Even as we're talking and sharing our stories, I'm sure she feels the same. She was crying just now. The pain does build up. It doesn't go anywhere. You know, it's not like it disappears. It's just you find your how can I say, your body becomes more equipped to carry it. That's all you can do for yourself.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing that you've raised, you know, loss, grief. It's not that it goes away. Like you say, you almost continue to just grow with it. You learn to live with it. And I think that really, really is the difficult part. Do you think, and maybe you haven't thought about it yet, do you think that a part of you wanted to have another child quickly because you weren't ready to deal with the pain of the one you had lost?
Yes. Ngisho ukuthi enhlizweni yami bekubuhlungu. Ngingakwazi like ukuqola. I remember bengithi mangilela I would dream of my late daughter. You know, ngithi ngiyavuka ebusuku like ngivuka ngimbambile so and akekho. And ngazitshela ukuthi having another one kuzomreplace lo. And it didn't. Because lo bekangafani nalo, akafani nalo. They're completely different.
What was her name?
Zanokuhle.
So at what point did, because, you know, you say when you had your second child that your partner was now not really present for that. How was it after the baby was born and you guys came home?
I remember he was not there when I went to the hospital. I went with my niece, with my nephew. And I got back from the hospital. Still, he didn't came. So I think he came after 7 days because now we had to go to the Home Affairs for the birth certificate. So he came and it was his first time seeing our son. And he couldn't believe it. And he was saying, is he really mine? And I was like, what do you mean? Because this is your son. You're the only, like, person I have ever dated. So, because he was too cute and, like, too big. The first one was so small, but then the second one it was a different story, you know. And he came, we did the birth certificate, and he went back home again. Because now he lives back home and I live here in Joburg. So it was a long-distance relationship.
Where was back home?
In Bronkhorstspruit, east of Pretoria. So he went back and home, and I got back to my place and stayed there until one of my aunt came by to assist me with the baby. After a few days, she left, and again, I was all by myself now that my nephew had left. And but then this time I was so ready, you know. I was like, you know what, I'm going to make this one happen. Like, not going to lose sight or anything like that. This one is going to leave. Yeah.
And he is alive and well today, 18 months old?
Yes.
Yes. You experienced a very unfortunate tragedy after that. What was it that happened with the father of your child?
He got involved in a car accident and he didn't survive. Mangikumbula, I think that week, and I said to him, you know what, I cannot go on like this, and I just want us to just try co-parenting, you know. And he said to me, no, window, nana usuhlukaniso gufa. And I like angizange seriously. I thought that maybe he was just saying it just to keep me. And by that time, umntana bekasahlala kubo, because mina manje la ngihlala khona, I couldn't like keep him because my working hours were not that as normal, so I couldn't take care of him.
How old was he at the time?
He was 4 months. So the entire time bekahlala naye, mina ngihlala la. So yena become like while I was working, he was assisting me with the baby. So yeah.
So he passed away 4 months after you had your second child together?
No, it was not 4 months. It was after 10 months.
10 months.
It was after 10 months.
It's very painful to hear of how much loss you've experienced. And how did, because your son was now staying with his family, what arrangements did you guys make after that? Is your son back with you, or is he still with his father's family?
He's back with me. Shortly after my partner had passed on, I said to myself I had to go home and, take my son back, because now ubaba kakasekho. And excele mina ngumama, so I felt I had to take responsibility. Because angeke akwazi ukulahlekela abazali abayi-2. Angikho ngila, and then umntana uselele ubaba kakasekho. So I had to arrange nomama baba umntwana ukuthi like I'm coming and ngizolanda umntanami, and it didn't sit well with them. Because I remember mengiye umlanda lo mama akhe bekade angekho. So ngamthatha bekuno sisi obaba umntanami. So ngathatha umntana ngabuya naye Joburg. So bese ngi-arrange yonke i-daycare already ngi-arrangile. Umuntu uzongilandela umntana i-crèche bese ngi-arrangile. So ngamthatha ngathi mangimthatha ngabuya naye la. And I think that's where we lost communication mina nababa umntana no mama baba umntana. I don't know what to call her, or my mother-in-law, or what. I don't know what to say. I remember ngimthathile and kwahlala isikhathi mina naye sangakhulumi. Wangifonela after a while wangitshela ukuthi Fihliwe, you have to come back home, bayakufuna ebank. And I didn't understand why. Mangimbuza ukuthi why bangifuna, bathi ngizoyenzani. Athi kimi no, like bengizama ukurelease imali yababa umntana, so but then I couldn't, bafuna i-birth certificate yomntana. Ngimtshela ukuthi angeke ngikwazi ukuza because now I remember emsebenzini bebangibe time off because I couldn't cope. So now wathi kimi, you know what, I'll send somebody to come pick the birth certificate, and I let, and then ngikwazi ngathi no, I cannot, not now. I'll come there, and when I have my days off. I said that to her. And after 3 to 4 days, I took a taxi and I went home. I remember leaving my son with this lady who I knew. She was one of the street vendors. I used to buy things from her. So like I had asked her, can you please help me out? Look after my son. I had to go home. There's something that I need to fix. So I went home, and when I got to the bank and I asked the bank, if kunomuntu oshonile and then there's somebody who's looking for birth certificate, so in bank no, if birth certificate, like bekumele ukuthi kuphume imali, so like angeke ukwazi ukuphuma if kungana, no. And then for you to release that money, you need to have a letter of authority. Yeah. And ngahamba ngayi-court. Nangifika i-court, lo mama wathi kimi, I think indaba yakho idinga ukuthi discuss as a family, because it's a family matter before I can give you the letter of authority. Nah. The reason I went back, like I went home and told information with what was going on. I remember, like like njengamanje angazi ukuthi ngithi, as I said before,
The mother
Mamazala.
of your
Yes.
Your child's father.
Yes. Because there are things that she needed to pay off.
Oh.
Yeah.
So did that whole issue get sorted out eventually?
The
issue of the birth certificate and your relationship with, your child's father's family, did that get resolved?
Nope, I didn't. Because I went there and then I was told to give her a letter so she can come to the court. And she did come to the court and not understanding why they were calling her. So basically, maybe being a court or sizolwa or uyabona izinto ezinjengalezo. So abantu abadala banendlela yabo yokucabanga izinto. So before singene court, I remember like into like English ubuhlungu namanje. I remember like angithethisa. Yabona like angitshela ukuthi that's why umntana ngikazange ngishade anginamthetho. And because at that time bengilose weight, bangitshela ukuthi ngiwondile ngidliwa izinto zami. A partner yami had multiple of partners and amantombazana amahle.
And I mean, considering that you are a new mom and you're going through everything that you have gone through, but be that as it may, just in the interest of time, where would you say you are today in terms of your grief or of having lost your child?
Right now, I'm at a better place, I can say. I have accepted that she's gone and she's not coming back. And God gave me another chance to have another son. So like when I look at my son and I'm saying to myself, yeah, I made it. Yeah, this is the purpose for me to live.
Mona, where are you today?
I just celebrated Amani's 4th birthday on the 16th of this month. And, the week of the 16th to the 23rd for the past 4 years has been extremely painful for me. And this is the first time since she passed away where I wake up every day with gratitude. I wake up every day feeling God's love and favor on my life. And I'm at a space where I'm comfortable with the pain. I'm comfortable. I allow it to exist. I allow it to remind me of what I've overcome. I allow it to remind me of what I had to lose in order to become who I am today. The biggest thing for me is that I'm very proud of the woman that I am right now. And I think that's what she came to teach me. So I live my life every day trying to create a legacy for my daughters. I live my life trying to live the life she couldn't live, and to do it with gratitude, to do it with joy. And every time when moments of doubt or fear or pain or regret or whatever come over me, I just remind myself that I had to live for my daughter. I have to shine the light that she shone in my heart, And it's a journey. It's a journey, but it's one I'm committed to. It's one I'm definitely committed to. But I won't lie, this year, for the first time since Amani passed on, I am truly experiencing peace.
Ladies, I'm so sorry for everything that you have been through. I'm so sorry for the loss of your little ones. It's personally so difficult for me to hear that, being a new mom myself. I have no idea where you have found the strength and the courage to get this far in your lives, but also to be at a point where you can speak about it. I know there are parents who are watching that may still be in the depth of grief that you will give hope to. But thank you so, so much for coming to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
These type of subjects are not easy at all. And while you may see me being able to be composed, it's quite sensitive. It's very, very difficult. So my heart goes out to every single parent that has ever had to bury a baby, especially in situations where it was not long before they were born, having gone through the 8 or 9 months of carrying the excitement, the anticipation, only to be heartbroken by the loss. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. Thank you so, so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Next time on Unpacked.
For yena hore a mfe lerato le gore nka le tlhoka na mfa tšhelete.
How old were you then when you started the heroin?
Ne ke le 14.
Even when you were going through withdrawal symptoms, you were thinking, I don't have a problem.
Yeah. One thing about an addict like me, I don't know how to live. I don't know what is life because I'm used to living high.
Thank you so much for watching Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. Make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can get to watch more episodes. But more importantly, you can be part of our online community. Comment down below, share with us who you'd like to see on the show, what story you'd like us to discuss. We love engaging with you. Keep it coming and don't forget to subscribe.